Jeff Merrick and Elliot Friedman talking about the Blackhawks and trade rumors. From Jeff Merrick, he was talking about the potential that Max Domi might actually be finding himself a home in Chicago rather than being flipped, as we all expected when he first came to the Blackhawks on a 1-year, $3 million deal. If this was just coming from random NHL blog spot 23 at blah, 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 like I wouldn't think twice about it. But coming from Merrick and Friedman, it's interesting to hear. And Scott Powers and Mark Lazarus today on The Athletic, they came out with their, what most updated what they're hearing about as far as trades for the Blackhawks go. But, with the Domi thing, look,
I don't mind it.
I don't mind if he's brought back in some sort of extension. But I don't know. Is it worth the way he's playing and what he can bring to a contending team? I think is more important right now and fits more of the idea of what this team's trying to do in this rebuilding process than trying to invest in him short term and what he can bring to the team. I think it's more important to try and get as best of a pick or prospect as possible for him than to say, oh, we'll keep you around for 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, to, I don't know, be an overachieving third liner, playing in the top six, be a presence in the locker. I don't know. I think
it depends on too, like, what kind of offers are you getting for Max Domi?
Right.
Like I think that's what Kyle Davidson has to do is say, all right, for a third round pick or higher, I'm willing to trade Max Domi.
I would.
Anything below a third, I'm going to think about it because, frankly, if Taves and Kane are gone, someone has to be here. Like, honestly, if you trade Taves, Kane, Athanasiou, Domi, then you're completely nuking what your whole plan was this year in Rockford.
Yeah.
Right? You're calling up Reichel. You're calling up Slavin. You're calling up Gutman. You're calling up whoever.
Dylan
Secura, fine, to fill those roster spots, and then you've taken a lot away from Rockford.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think he sets a price. The other thing, and Mark W. brings this up in the chat, you could trade Domi and tell him, hey, man, July 1st, have your ringer on because we're going to sign you. We're going to re-sign you, and we want you back. I know that happens very rarely.
Yeah.
But this is a very unique situation the Hawks are in.
Yeah. My point on that is I think people love the idea of that. I don't think it happens as often as people want or believe it to happen. In the case of Domi, though, I tend to break my own thinking on that because he came to Chicago because of Luke Richardson.
Yeah.
And Luke Richardson, his seat is not hot. He is going to be here for a while. So I wonder if that actually could be potentially in the cards.
Yeah, and look, as we look ahead to next year, they're going to have a crap ton of cap space. Mm-hmm. If Kane and Taves leave one way or another, it's $21 million of cap space.
Right.
That's just sitting there. They're going to have to fill out roster spots with veterans, just like they kind of did this year when they got Jay Dick and they got all the other guys. You've got to fill in those spots.
Yeah.
If Max Domi's happy here and content with playing through a season like this and loves Chicago, and look, like, that's a guy in the locker room that's always smiling, gregarious. Mm-hmm. He's always there. He's always answering questions. Like, I think there's a value in having him there. Look, you're not going to go win anything with Max Domi as your best player. However, I don't think next year is also going to be the Rockford Blackhawks.
No.
It's just not. So you need to fill out some spots with veterans. He will be affordable. He's making 3, so you're looking maybe 4 next year, maybe. Or you just give him an identical deal, whatever, but it's not going to break the bank.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it makes sense. And I think you just sort of look around and say, hey, man, like, if we're going to get third or better for you, we're going to flip you, but keep that phone on. July 1st, we'll be calling. Mm-hmm. And he won't be the only one, right?
Yeah,
so
I think that definitely could be in play. And from what Merrick said in the segment, it kind of sounded like it was more or less the Blackhawks were coming from a place of like, hey, we like what you're doing here. We like what you're bringing to the team. And it seemed like more of their decision to want to be like, we may want to keep you, rather than him saying like, hey, I want to stay here, even though I know he doesn't have any contract protection on his deal.